Welcome back to another CAD session using Onshape. Today we're going to draw a thread clamp as in the image above, and you can draw that either from an actual part you've got in front of you or from just following my instructions here. A thread clamp is a useful workshop tool which we use to hold threaded bar or bolts in a vise when we're working on them. Okay, to start modelling, I've opened up a new document in Onshape, and we're going to start as usual with a sketch. And I'll turn to the, pick the front plane for the sketch, and I'll turn the image to the front. Okay, the thread clamp is made from a piece of 25mm wide, 6mm thick bar. So we're going to make this 25. It's going to be 150mm long, like so. And then I'll extrude this shape 6mm. Sorry, try that again. 6mm. Like that. Excellent. Okay. You'll notice from the part in front of you that one end is rounded, so I'm going to choose the fillet tool and pick these ends, the end corners there, and the fillet is a full radius going all the way around, so 25 shade by 2 is 12.5, like that. Lovely. And on the other end there are two chamfers, so if I pick the chamfer tool, pick these two corners, and the chamfers are 5mm chamfers. There we are. That's the basic shape of our thread clamp. I'll just turn these planes off because they tend to get in the way. We don't really need them for the rest of the modelling. Right, we're going to put holes along the centre of this bar, and the holes are going to be threaded, tapped holes along the length of the bar. So I'm going to start with a sketch on here, and I'm going to pick the point tool. The point is effectively like a centre punch when we go to drill in the workshop, and I'm going to pick the centre of this end and just drag across and drop a point here. Now before I close this sketch, we just need to add a dimension, and the first hole is going to be 25mm away from the end. Accept that sketch, and now pick the hole tool. Now these 4 holes along here, well, there will be 4 holes, are all going to be simple holes all the way through. They are going to be ISO metric threads, and the hole type is going to be tapped. There's going to be a thread going through. The first hole is M6 by 1mm. Okay, so that's the information we need for this first hole here. I'll just pick the point and accept. Okay, the next 4 holes are going to be exactly the same, but the next one is M8 by 1.25, M10 by 1.5, and M12 by 1.75. Okay, that's the information you need for the next 4 holes. Right, the next 2 holes are just going to be plain simple holes here, so I'm going to press sketch, pick a point, same again, I'm going to drag across, sorry that didn't pick, try again. This hole is going to be at 125 from the end. accept hole, and this is going to be a simple through hole, custom, and a hole diameter of 4 millimeters. So that's just a simple hole, no thread. Accept, and same again, sketch, point, drag all the way along. (137.5), and this is going to be again a simple hole, but this time 6 millimeters in diameter. And there we have it. We're almost done with modelling. I'll just turn this to the front view. We just need a slot cut along the centre. That's going to be done with a hacksaw in the workshop, and a hacksaw cuts a 1 millimeter groove. So we'll model that up. Sketch on the front face. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Pick a section on the end and out to here somewhere. We'll dimension this up. The slot is going to be 125 long, and it's going to be 1 millimeter in thickness, and the overall thickness of the bar is 25. 25 take away 1 is 24. Shared by 2, this dimension here will be 12 to be in the center. Okay, so we've got that sketch along there. We just need to cut out that groove. So I'm going to pick extrude, and we'll just pick these sections. We don't want to add material, we want to remove material. Take it away, and there we are. That's our part modelled up. Easy. Okay, that should take you 10 to 15 minutes to model that up. Right, now we'll go ahead and produce a 2D drawing, orthographic drawing of this part, so we can actually use it to make this part in the workshop. So I'm going to start by going down to the left hand corner, insert new element, and create drawing. I use a custom template, ISO, English, A4, millimeters, pick the comma decimal separator and third angle projection. Okay, these are standard settings that we use most of the time. We will include a border with 4 horizontal and 4 vertical zones, and we need a title block. Okay. So that just takes a minute to load up. Here we are, that's our drawing block set up. We insert a part, that's the only part we've got in this part studio. So part 1. Now that looks a little bit too small again for my drawing, so I'm going to change the view scale from 1 to 2. 1 to 2 is half scale, to 1 to 1 full scale. I'm going to drop that front view. I'm going to drag up, and that will give me a plan view, and I'm going to select this initial view again, drag to the side, to the right. That'll give me my side view, and I'm going to do one more view. I'm going to click on my initial view and come up to the top right and drop in an isometric view there. That's a nice pictorial view that makes it easier to understand what all these orthographic views are showing us. Press escape to finish that tool. This isometric view is a little bit too big, so I'm going to right click, view properties, and change the scale on here from 1 to 1 back to 1 to 2 half scale. And you'll see I'll just position that in the corner. You'll notice that the scale indicator comes with it, showing this is 1 to 2. whereas the rest of the drawing is shown 1 to 1, and that's automatically inputted into the drawing block at the bottom here, 1 to 1. Right, let's add some dimensions. But before we do that, these holes need center marks. So we'll use the center mark tool. Click on each hole, like so, and escape. So we've got center marks on each. I'm going to add hidden detail to these. So this top view, right click, show hide, and show hidden lines. And that shows the holes going through the part. The same with the right hand view, show hidden lines. That gives us all the detail we need for the drawing to be understandable. Now dimensions. So I'm going to click on the dimension tool here, and I'm going to click on, first off, on this radius at the end, and that's going to tell us the radius of the part. I'm going to click on the end, pick on my first hole, and I'm going to dimension all of my holes from the end, like this. Now I'm just running out of space there, so I'm just going to press escape to close the dimension tool, drag up, and now I'm going to pick the dimension tool again. It's always quite satisfying when all these dimensions line up nicely on the drawing, like so. So we've got all of our hole dimensions. Let's add the thickness of the part on there, so we've got that. And now we just need to add the hole details. Now we've baked the hole details into the model itself. When we put all the holes in, we put all the hole dimensions and hole details, thread details. So I'm going to pick the hole thread call out tool, which is 2 to the right of the dimension tool. I'm going to click on one of the holes, and that picks out the hole detail. Okay, looks a little bit cluttered, so I'll move that up a little bit. There we are. And I think that's all. No, that's not all. We need the chamfer details on here. So if I drop down using the dimension tool, there's a chamfer dimension tool, which I can just click. (5 by 45). Okay, that's exactly what I want there. It's inferred then that this dimension, this chamfer here, will be the same. So we leave that at that. So there we are. That's most of our dimensioning done. That's all we need now, is to add some details into the title block. So if I pick, double click, I'm going to call this thread clamp, and I'm going to give it a drawing number, TC001. The material will be bright mild steel, and the finish will, there's no finish on it, so we call that self finish. And here, if we look at angular and tolerances, So the angular tolerance will be plus or minus 1 degree, and I'm going to add to that linear, use the tool, plus or minus 0.25 millimeters, and accept that. I'll drop that there, and I'll use the note tool. Surface finish is going to be RA 1.6. That's a bit too big. I'll just change the text size, text height to 2. Accept that. There we are. So the information we've got in the title block is the title, drawing number, scale comes in automatically, finish, material, tolerances and surface finish, and your name and date will show up in the drawing block there. And there we are. Excellent. So in your engineering portfolio, print out this as an A4 sheet, and also in the Part Studio, print out and insert an image of the 3D model into your folder as well as evidence. Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.